Hello my beautiful butterflies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beverley and it is so lovely to see you today. In this video we're going to be talking about ancestor work and how to really embrace and enjoy your journey. So grab that cup of tea, let's get to it. So I have had a few people ask questions along my journey into ancestor work, and while I've been concentrating on ancestor work I have quite a few videos about that, so I'll leave links down below to anything that I think you might enjoy. But I have had people ask me questions, so I thought I'd answer some of the ones that really stuck in my mind. The first is, what if I cannot or I don't want to work with my family? So this is for people who can't trace back their lineage because of adoption, because of displacement, being a refugee or enslavement, that kind of thing. It can also be because maybe you don't want to work with them because they are racist or they've thrown you out the house for being LGBTQ+. I think it's really important to remember that we're not only connected to the people within our bloodline, we're also connected in other ways to people around this earth and throughout history. And one way is through the lands. So this can be either connecting to people in a country, in a town or a city, or in the home that you live in now. So if you live in a historical house, for example, you could work with ghosts or spirits from that house. Also, if you live, for example, on, I know there's a lot of people on Aboriginal land if they live in Australia, a lot of people in North America who live in like displaced Native American land, that sort of thing. You can very much feel sometimes like I want to connect with the groups that lived on the land that I'm on, and that is something that can be quite a beautiful journey, something that can very much be inspiring. For me personally, I have found that I cannot trace back 2 strands of my family tree, and one is because they're in Greece and I can't afford, and there's also a language problem, to trace them back, and also the Irish side of my family because there was a massive fire in, I believe, the 1960s, and all of our records were lost to the fire. And for me that means I cannot trace them back. However, I have been doing a lot of work to connect with the land. So I've been doing a lot of reading about the Celtic people and Celtic Ireland, their beliefs and practices, as well as Greece and Greek witchcraft and Greek practices and folk magic in Greece. Those are 2 ways that I've personally connected with those strands of my family tree without really feeling like I'm missing out on part of my time with them. So that can be a really wonderful way to connect. For example, if you're displaced from your country of origin or from wherever your family is originally from, say your family moved to America in the 1910s or something, which happened quite a lot, from Europe, and you've traced it back and they're from Ireland, you could start working with Ireland or Scotland, that sort of thing. So it's really, really beautiful way of connecting with people of the land. Another one is ancestors of kind, and these are people who are in the same kind of social group that you are in. For example, you could work with people of colour, or you could work with people who, if you are queer or in the alphabet gang, you could work with people historically who were part of that group. I personally love to look at old pictures of couples or same gender couples and men dressed as women, women dressed as men. That's always been something I've really enjoyed, and with the start of photography, people started to record their partnerships, their lifestyle, how they wish they looked at a time where they could have been put to death or they could have been taken and put into asylums. Those people were incredibly brave. They're the people who paved the way for us. And so connecting with those people, learning about the history of the social group that you belong in, can be incredibly empowering and a beautiful thing. As well, I have several chronic illnesses, and I've done a lot of work to kind of connect with people who had similar illnesses. A lot of them were put into asylums because it was believed that they had certain mental health issues. They were given lobotomies and locked away and not really seen. And it just really shows me that these people really struggled. But look how lucky I am now that I don't have to struggle in the same way. And so that's a really beautiful way to connect with your ancestors of kind or your ancestors of the land. It doesn't just have to be ancestors of your blood. So the next question I get a lot is just how do you start? Like, where do you begin? How do you connect with people, with your ancestors? Now for me, I think a big part of connecting with my ancestors was to create an altar. Now an altar can be as creative and as big as you want. I know during the Day of the Dead, you see these beautiful altars full of golden marigolds in that culture, and they put all photographs up of their family members and remember them and leave them gifts. And you could do something like that. You could do something very simple that's just a glass of water and a white candle on a windowsill. It can be as simple or as It can be as simple or as ornate as you feel called to do. For me personally, I have a lot of like effects that have passed down to me through family, and I put them out on. But for me, it's perfect. I've got loads of room. I've put a black cloth on there. I have a candle. I have a glass of water, and I have photographs and items that belonged to family members, as well as my husband's family members, as well as animals and pets that we've had over the years. So it's kind of a mishmash, because it is a privilege to have an altar room. If you're not lucky enough to have that, or you're not able to be out and proud about wanting to work with ancestors and things, just putting photographs up and lighting a white candle when you're at church is more than enough to show that you want to work with them. And I think going to that altar or going to that place every day or once a week and just really taking time out of your life to show that you are really determined to take time to be with them will make all the difference. For me, making an altar was a big game changer for me, but that's just because I like to have somewhere to go and physically be. You could also do things like visit a grave site or something like that, or a statue or something that meant something to you all. I'm sure that this practice is different for people all over the world, but there are certain things like altars that we see all over the world, and so it was something that was very important to me as an omnist to bring into my practice. The next thing is tracing your family tree. This can be done in your local library. It can also be done online on places like ancestry.com. That's where I did mine. This year have bought like, it's just like a normal book, but it's got black pages in, and I am really determined to make a physical copy of that online space and to really take my time, do research and add research into the book as well as photographs and things. So I think for me, tracing my family tree has been amazing. I've been able to go back to something like 14 something or other on one side of my family, which was really incredible to see, and it's really been inspiring to connect with my family in that way. But again, if you're not working with a family tree, it could be researching, for example, a charity or an organisation. I know that in America, a big part of the LGBTQI plus community has been Stonewall, and so researching the people who were there, the people who got involved, the people who really laid their lives on the line to stand up so we could have the rights that we have today. Doing things like that is really incredibly powerful and inspiring, and I just love doing the research side of things. It's also really cool to do research into the land that you're living on or the culture that you're in. It doesn't have to be as specific as your blood group, but I think really taking your time and giving that as an offering, researching, having a book with notes in, can be as elaborate again or as simple as a sketchbook with some drawings and photos in. Do it your way. It doesn't have to be anything like you see online. Just do what feels right to you. I also really love doing divination. So whatever your divination method is, for me it's tarot and oracle cards. I pull an oracle card every day with my ancestors, and I also do regular tarot spreads with them, just asking questions and trying to get clarity. I find is really, really inspiring and really lovely to connect and get that kind of giving them a chance to respond. But you can also use runes, you can also use pendulums, that's the word, pendulums, Ouija boards, so many infinite ways of divination. Just look it up, do some research, or if you would like me to do a whole video on different types of divination, just let me know in a comment down below. The overall question has been, do I have to work with my family? Do I have to work with great Uncle Ted, who turned out to be really racist, or that guy who was really horrible to me, who turned out to be a second cousin, etc.? And the answer is no. You can build up protections around your altar, and you should always do that. Protections are very important, and you can also ask your allied ancestors that you are working to protect your space. Call on them to ask for protection is something that I have definitely done. I also have a lot of little protections all around my room to ensure that the only spirits that come to work with me are ones that are there for my highest good. I don't want to work with people who hated witches because they were back in the time when we were burning witches and killing witches, and they still think that I'm evil and I'm going to go to hell, etc., etc. Like, I don't want to work with people like that, so they are not invited. So definitely work on protecting your space. Call upon your ancestors to protect you and keep you safe. But yeah, you choose your space, set your boundaries, and be very, very clear about who you're willing to work with and who you're not. I think too often we're made to feel like we have to forgive people, and I am a big believer in forgiveness, but I'm also a big believer in setting your boundaries. And by taking a step back and saying, you know what, you're not invited, I forgive you for what you did, or I understand because of the society that you were living in and grown up in, I understand your beliefs, but you're not invited, is very powerful, and is something that is going to give you a feeling of control and power in a time that can feel very much like you don't know what's going on, because we don't know what happens to us when we die. We don't know what spirits are going to come through and things, and when you start ancestor work, it can be very scary. I know it was for me. I found it very, very scary at first. Now I'm not scared at all because I know that I'm protected. I've set my boundaries. Don't feel like you have to let that person in because otherwise that person's going to be upset. Set your boundaries and that's it. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it will help you to really deepen your practice and to embrace all the steps and all the journey that it takes when you start to connect with your roots and start to really do ancestor work. I have found it just so enlightening and beautiful. I've connected to different cultures. I always used to be drawn to like the Indian culture and England, like English roots, and now I feel most connected to the Greek and the Celtic sides of my family. It's been really interesting, and it's something that I feel very much like I need to go where they're calling me. Those sides of the family are calling me, and I think you will find the same as you deepen your practice, as you get past fears and worries, that you will start to deepen your practice and feel that beautiful connection that comes with working with spirit. I really hope that you do. Don't forget to set up your protections, set your boundaries, and stay safe. I just want to take a moment to send a huge thank you out to all of my Patreons. You guys really do keep this channel going, and I am so grateful. Thank you to Ravin, who was my first Patreon. Thank you to Kirsty Nelms, who did all my branding here and over on my blog. So if you want to check her out, her links are down in the description. Thank you so much to Margaret Finlay. Thank you to Sarah O'Donoghue, who keeps us all safe over in the Patreon Discord server. Thank you to Lindsay Wynne Stanley. Thank you to Amanda, and thank you to Georgina's Journey. Don't forget, if you would like to support the channel and keep me going here, you can head over to Patreon or Ko-fi to help out. Links are in the description. Now back to the studio. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to head down below and leave this video a cheeky like and a comment. It helps me to know, and the YouTuberverse to know, that you enjoyed it, and it will get shared out just that little bit more. It also is just really wonderful to read your comments. I always reply to everyone, and I just think it's lovely to chat back and forth. So if you have any more questions, any video ideas, or anything that you would like to know, just let me know down in the comments. I would love to chat to you all. And last but not least, don't forget, if you are new here, click that subscribe button, ring that little bell so you always know when I upload. I'm usually here on a Friday, but sometimes on a Monday. It just depends what's going on with my health, what's going on in my life, but I always do my best to be here with you at least once every week. Take care everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful, magical week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!